Greatness. Hey guys, it's Darren Mann from 1923 and Animal Kingdom, and I am on the I Only Touch Greatness podcast, episode 600.
Born in Vancouver, what was childhood like for you in East Van?
Oh man, it was a wild time, you know. I grew up with a single mom in East Van, so my brother and I, he's 6 years older, we spent a lot of time together, and we just roamed Champlain Heights, man, playing a lot of street hockey, all sorts of things. You grow up fast when you get that kind of freedom. You know, we used to ride the bus to Metrotown when I was like 5 years old, but that's just what you did, you know. Learned to cook early too. Um, Life was good, man. A lot of great friends. I think, you know, I call myself the East Van kid because I think there's a great character that comes from the East Side. There's a good work ethic, you know.
Yeah.
It's that like blue collar mentality. You ain't afraid to get dirty, put your head down and do it. And I just feel like it's like a thing of hope for me to give kids. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter you have one dad, no dad, whatever your situation is. You can do anything you want to do. You know, just depends on how bad you want it, and what you're willing to do for it.
And I know you played hockey and growing up, and you just mentioned the street hockey. We did play a lot of that growing up too in Coquitlam. I'm just in Coquitlam, so yeah, I knew you played hockey. I read even that you went pro.
I played 1 year single A in this like it was like slap shot, man. Uh, yeah, in Indiana. It was a good
Oh,
time. I'd played 5 years junior, mostly really going for it in the first three. And then the last two, I just kind of played for fun, went back to junior B. And then after, when I was done junior at 20, I thought, you know, I just gotta give it one last go. I had a little bit of itch left, you know, a little drive to figure out what that was all about. So called up the first junior coach I played for when I was 16, got a tryout with his team in the Central Hockey League at that time with the Evansville Icemen. And I was trained, it was a great summer. I was 20, I trained hard, put it all in out there, you know, went for it, went down, had a pretty good camp. Ultimately ended up on their single A team, their affiliate, um, and played out that year, which was insane, man. I lived in the house with a couple guys from the States, and we had the three Russian guys in our basement. So just wild stories. A great time, but ultimately, you know, uh, hockey just, you know, wasn't my thing. I had to find something else, and that time came around 21. And I'm so happy though for hockey because I always go back to hockey when I talk about success in acting because I think without all those hard times through junior and trying really hard for something that's not easily attainable, something really difficult, and something that gives you a thick skin, you're not afraid to hear no or cut from the team, right? There's a lot of no's in acting, so that certainly helps. Yeah, so I feel like hockey is like the backbone to everything that I've done in life, even though hockey itself didn't necessarily work out for me.
the other East Van guy, Lucic, we have in common being on the podcast. You ever play with him?
Yeah, man, we played Pee Wee and Bantam together. Uh,
Okay.
yes, yes, and we had the same off ice skills coach for a long time too, Doug Rose. You know, putting the East Side on the map. He's got his jersey up there in Killarney Ice Rink, where we played together back in the day in Pee Wee and Bantam AAA for Van Miner. Um, and so I just love. I've been such a fan of his, and I've loved cheering him on through his career. I love what he's done. You know, he was an undrafted kid of the Dub, and now look, he's won a Stanley Cup, and he's done it all back in Vancouver.
I know, that's totally awesome. We'll get to. I got a question about your favorite. Oh, it's might as well shoot it now. Favorite sports franchise and least favorite sports franchise, and why is it the Bruins?
Oh, what was the last part?
Oh, the least favorite, and why is it the Bruins?
Well,
Yeah,
there's
I got
my
the same
favorite.
hat actually.
Grew up a Canucks fan, Pavel Bure jerseys, you know, all that. Speaking of Canucks, though, man, this is my favorite team since that like Bure era when I was growing up. Well, you know, I love the West Coast Express era too, but the Canucks for sure. That's my favorite franchise. I've cheered for them forever. I also cheer for the Capitals. Big Ovechkin fan. My dog's named Ovi. And my least favorite sports franchise. Oh man. I mean, the Bruins and the Rangers have been on that list for a long time,
Yeah, they got to be on the list just because of
Yeah,
where we
there's still
live.
sore spots there. We could see a rematch, I think, this year, maybe.
Of 94 or 2011,
Either or, right?
and or even just to see. I mean, the Maple Leafs aren't making it out of the first round, but it would be cool to see the Maple Leafs Vancouver.
It would be 100%. Always good to see the all Canadian. Been too long.
Couple more names for you that you might have played with. Daniel Amesbury.
No, don't know him.
Okay, yeah, he's like a tough goon that played throughout the CHL, AHL era. Part of that Danbury Trashers.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Heard a lot about those guys.
yeah, he's now part of the new Danbury team.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
another name for you, Big Milos, that you does the Goat podcast.
Ah, Milos Gordic?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I actually was just talking to him the other day. I'm going to jump onto his podcast. We had a very brief time together in Langley. I didn't even get to play a game for them before I was off to Merritt. But he was a real cool guy, and I loved watching him play. He's such a great hockey player, man. And holy smokes, big guy too that can move and play. And great local boy, and great friends with his cousin too.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that was his free plug on my show. Uh, the how do you start, or when did you start acting, and how did you get into it? I knew your mom was an actress as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. So my mom kind of did a whole bunch of stuff in the industry back in the day, and she was always into the arts and theater and whatnot. And I was a real shy little guy, and so she decided, hey, why not go to an acting class, see if it helps him out, maybe get out of his shell a bit. And so I started taking classes around, I was like 8 years old or so at Tarleton Training in Vancouver. And I really enjoyed it. And I continued on trying to pursue it on the side of, playing hockey as a young kid. Um, and then at 14, it was just too much to try and make auditions and playing, rep hockey. So I just focused on hockey. That's what I wanted to do. Like any good Canadian kid, I had to chase the hockey dream. Um, and then let's see, when I got back into it, was in the off season around my last year junior when I was 19, 20. I started taking classes in Vancouver again. And then full board at 21 when I was done hockey. And yeah, the rest is history. I'm 34 now.
Okay, if you were having a dream dinner party and you can invite three other famous people dead or alive, who would you want to sit down at your table? For
Tom
me,
Brady, 100%.
uh, okay.
Tom Brady, Alex Ovechkin. And now I got to fill the third. This is hard, man.
So while you think about it, I'll tell you mine. I go with Tupac, Seth Rogen, being from Vancouver. I'd love to smoke with him one day. And then I always need some eye candy, so I always go with like Carrie Underwood or Shakira.
You're setting your dinner up right, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
You thought this one out a little bit.
Yeah, one to party and drink with, one to smoke with, and one to take home.
Hey, I'm gonna go with maybe the last one's gonna be Daniel Day-Lewis. I just love to learn, and I feel like I could learn something so great from all three of those guys.